How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about SNDL Sundial growers. So what we're going to be talking about, of course, the 70-cent range. I even went down inside of the Weeble comment section, wanted to interact with you guys, just drop a little bit of knowledge, remind you, hey, this is what the game plan is. But I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at support, resistance, and the move we're looking forward to from SNDL. And then secondly, we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. We want to know, are shorts still heavily vested inside of this play? We're going to find out. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know, are institutions getting involved? This is very key here, and it will impact the stock price. And then when all of that is done, we'll be jumping into the final thoughts. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for SNDL's Sundial growers. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at 78 cents, being down 4.21%. On the low, it tested 78 cents, and then on the high, testing 80 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see here we traded at 89.602 million shares, and as far as for the average volume over 10 trading days, it was at 93.542 million shares. Now when we take a look at our indicators here, we're using the 1-year daily chart. You can see from the RSI down below, we're at 41.54, and as far as for the indicators on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 200-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And I was telling you guys, this is the reason why patience is so important when it comes to SNDL. We could see it pulling back, getting comfortable inside of that 70-cent range. So if it does decide to pull back further going into tomorrow, I'll be looking out for like 75 cents. And if it's possible, as far as especially going into Friday, if you can get it even lower into the 70s, I feel that's even better. Do keep in mind, we do have Canopy that's going to be releasing earnings on the Friday. So there might be a little bit of anticipation there. But one thing to be aware of, I feel very confident that SNDL will spike back again, going back to the 80-cent range and 90-cent range, and also eventually touching $1 as well. So these particular areas, I know I sound like a broken record, but this is where you actually accumulate. And due to the fact that it is below the 200-day, as far as the downside is concerned, we could definitely look forward to seeing this pullback continue, especially since tomorrow's going to be Thursday and then we have Friday coming in. So with all of that said, I just want to make sure you guys have a strategy, you have a game plan, and just know as far as the area of resistance for SNDL, we already seen it clearly here at this 85-cent level, and now since we are broken below 80 and closed below 80, now 80 becomes that psychological area where if we're able to break that, then we could see some momentum, and that's where we see that resistance at the 200-day. So we're going to take a look at the institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information for SNDL. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we could see here for August the 4th, which is today, we have a Lake Point Wealth Management that purchased 14,000 shares. So that was definitely something that was good to see, institutions loading up on SNDL. Now, when we take a look at the short interest information, scrolling down on the page, you can see the short shares availability is at 8.3 million shares, updated 29 minutes ago. And as far as for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 1.57%. Scrolling down further, you could see here as far as for the history, on August the 3rd, it was at 53.17, and also on the 2nd, it was at 55.16. So it went down a little bit, but one thing to do keep in mind, it still continues to have short squeeze potential. And again, there's so many catalysts that are going to be coming up in regards to other cannabis companies that are going to be having earnings, and as well as SNDL having its earnings as well. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SNDL. So we can see here on the inflow is at 17.30, and on the outflow is at 23.79. We had 0 on the large for both. As far as for the medium on the inflow, outflow side, it was 11.26, and as far as for the small, it was at 6.04, and of course this is all in the millions. As far as on the outflow side, it was at 15.42, and as far as for the small, it was at 8.37. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, we continue to have zeros down the board. But one thing I want to really talk about with you guys, I was looking at the level 2s today. I also put it up inside the Webull comment section. Institutions, I feel they are loading up. I've saw some share purchases. There's many orders coming in, purchasing like 700,000 shares, 600,000 shares. So as far as for those small and medium-sized orders, institutions are definitely hiding their buys in those particular areas. So with all of that said, just know they are loading up, and they know that they want to load up on the dip so they can take advantage of when the stock run up. And I feel like you should have a similar strategy for yourself instead of buying at the highs in the 80 and the 90 cent range and so forth. So now let's jump into the final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for SNDL Sundial growers, as far as spikes are concerned, there's definitely potential to see them very soon. We also know two prominent names inside of the cannabis industry, which is Canopy Growth, and as well as I think it's Kronos. They're going to be having their earnings this week. So if they end up actually putting up some good numbers, we could definitely see some excitement inside of the cannabis sector. We've already seen this happen already. And then on top of that, with SNDL having their earnings coming up, there's going to be some anticipation. So as far as these prices that you are seeing, I don't want you to be concerned. I don't want you to be worried. I just want you to have a game plan. And this is why I talk about it every single time inside of the technicals. And the reason why I'm always talking about it, because I want you guys to remember. So when you see SNDL get back into the 85-cent range or even 89 cents, you could start banking in some solid profits. We've already calculated that is well over 10%. So just keep that in mind. Load up when it's in that 70-cent range. Of course, let's pause. This is not financial advice. Just know you're doing it at your own risk. So now that's out of the way. When we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, you can see there continues to be short squeeze potential inside of this play. And it's part of the reason being is with the catalyst that we have coming up, and especially if we end up getting some more news with cannabis and being legalized on a federal level in the United States, hey, things can get very interesting. So as far as loading up, I don't mind loading up when it's in the 70-cent range. I just accumulate more and more shares waiting for that spike to happen, because you know with SNDL, normally you really don't have to wait that long for that. And even if you do, it just requires some patience, and you're going to be making money at the end of the day anyways. Even if you take into consideration how much money you make. Let's say, for example, you have your money inside of an index fund. So they usually say on average, you're going to gain at least about what? 15% a year, right? On average. So just taking that into consideration, you can make a quick, let's say about 10 to 12% by a move going from 79 to 89. I think it's around, yeah, it's just over 10% or maybe around 12 right there. And you could do that literally within a year. So that's why I'm explaining it. I'm putting it out there. Spread the message to anyone that you know, but just know this is not financial advice. I just want you guys to be able to make some profits and be able to keep a level head inside of the stock market. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.